I hope that this is, also a reality check for community, other young members to make better decisions.
Good evening, and we begin at 5 with remorse, justice, and as you just heard, a reality check. That is Washington County Deputy Mike Trotter speaking this afternoon after the young driver who severely injured him and killed 2 teenagers received his sentence. Thanks for joining us. I'm David Molko.
And I'm Laurel Porter. The teen who was behind the wheel apologized in court as he learned he will spend the next 25 years in prison. Let's bring in Mike Benner now from the Washington County Courthouse. Mike.
Yeah, Laurel, reasonable is how injured Deputy Mike Trotter described the punishment. The Washington County Sheriff himself satisfied as well. As you might imagine, it was an emotional afternoon in the courtroom. We can tell you that family for the boys killed in this crash were there, and they broke down at different times. So too did the defendant himself, Xavier Rodriguez, especially when it came time for him to apologize to all of the families involved. Video cameras were not allowed in the Washington County Courthouse Friday, but still cameras were. And we captured this image of a shackled Xavier Rodriguez walking into a courtroom where he pled guilty to a crash that killed 2 people and injured several others, including Washington County Sheriff's Deputy Mike Trotter.
A lot of people have asked me if me or my family will forgive him. I don't think that's for me and my family decides between him and God.
Deputy Trotter was on patrol in late April 2022 when Rodriguez, who was drinking and driving, slammed into Deputy Trotter's rig. This happened near the corner of TV Highway and Murray. Deputy Trotter was badly hurt. So too were 2 teens in Rodriguez's car. 2 other teens in that car, Matthew Amaya and Juan Aguilera, were killed.
The sentence that was imposed by the judge holds accountable the individual.
That's Washington County Sheriff Pat Garrett reacting to the sentence a judge handed down to the now 19-year-old Rodriguez. 25 years behind bars. Moments before that, though, Rodriguez made an approximately 5-minute statement apologizing to everyone involved.
His apology is great, but in the end, his decisions led to the loss of lives and challenges in my life.
Deputy Trotter says he is making progress in his recovery, though his future in law enforcement is unclear. What is clear is the message the deputy hopes Friday's sentencing sends to the community.
I hope that this is, also a reality check for community, other young members to make better decisions.
All right, it's worth mentioning that families of the boys killed in the crash did speak at the hearing. In one way or another, they said they forgive Xavier Rodriguez. The judge pointed out how remarkable that is, then challenged Rodriguez to think long and hard about why he was spared in this crash, and then put that to good use when he's a free man in 25 years. Back to you.
That is a lot to think about. Thank you, Mike. A Tigard couple was arrested in a horrific child abuse case. And we do want to warn you, the details may be difficult to hear. Police have arrested 67-year-old Anna Miranda and her husband, 74-year-old Charles Randy Ward. Ward made his first court appearance this afternoon. Miranda's was yesterday. The case stems around a home in unincorporated Tigard where 2 adults, 9 kids, and 2 young adults lived. They're accused of chaining one of the kids, often for more than 12 hours a day. Investigators say a second victim in this case is a young adult.
These crimes in themselves, these circumstances are horrific. Let's be honest, they shock the conscience. Our goal here is to protect the victim and victims as much as possible. This is horrific, what they've had to go through.
Investigators also learned Miranda had allegedly assaulted several other children in the home over many years. The children in this case are now safe with responsible adults. They're also not part of the foster care system. Beyond that, investigators aren't saying how the kids and suspects are connected. They also add there could be other victims.
In Hillsborough, police say a man trying to escape from officers caused a multi-car crash. Police say they were responding Thursday afternoon to a suspicious vehicle parked by the Sherry's off 185th. Officers say when they approached, the driver sped over the sidewalk and into the road and was T-boned by another vehicle. Police say the suspect, 45-year-old Jacob Forrest, then tried to run, but officers caught up. 4 cars were involved in the crash. 1 woman was injured but will survive. Forrest faces charges related to the crash, and police add he also had multiple outstanding warrants.
The Oregon State Senate convened today, but once again, not enough Republicans showed up to allow the Senate to do its job. And on day 3, the Senate president spoke out before ending the session. Tim Gordon's in Salem on this Friday afternoon. Tim, he had some demands too.
Yeah, Laurel, he did. Rob Wagner, the Senate president, told those who did show up that they're going to go 7 days a week now if they have to try and get their work done. And that starts with sessions this weekend. This was day 3 and the same routine. 5 Republicans were absent without permission, and it kept the Senate from having enough members to operate. But today was the first time the Senate president made a speech after declaring there was no quorum. Wagner reminded the group that June 25th is the last day of the session, and with lots of work still to do, they'd go every day of the week if necessary to get it done. Of course, if Republicans continue to stay out, that's just going to speed up the absentee tally, pushing this thing to a head even sooner. Meanwhile, Republicans continue to claim bills on abortion and gender rights and gun safety are not legally written, despite the nonpartisan Office of Legislative Counsel saying that they are. Well, today, Wagner tried to appeal to Republicans by reminding them of the successes they've had on bipartisan bills while imploring them to come debate the ones they don't like.
To every single one of you, I respect your right to have a different opinion and for us to disagree. But disagree here, on the people's floor.
It was worse today. Yeah, they ring a little hollow because he doesn't want to fix it. He just wants to ignore the problem that we are not complying with the law.
So the standoff continues with no end in sight and another attempt to do the full Senate's work tomorrow, Saturday. Laurel?
Tim Gordon for us in Salem. Thank you, Tim. This is far from the first time we've seen lawmakers refuse to show up at the Capitol like this. This is now the 6th Republican walkout since 2019. Previous ones were over issues like education funding, cap and trade, climate initiatives, and COVID restrictions. But if you go back far enough, Oregon Democrats have walked out as well. Their most recent one was in 2001 over redistricting. You can find a history and timeline of legislative walkouts in Oregon right now on KGW.com.
And speaking of Oregon politics, we have new information this evening in the scandal surrounding Secretary of State Shemia Fagan and her side job consulting for a cannabis firm. Both the Oregonian and Willamette Week reporting that emails from 2021 show Fagan shared a draft plan for the state's audit of the cannabis industry with the owners of La Moda Dispensary. That is the company she would later go on to moonlight for. Now, records reportedly show Fagan used language suggested by one of the La Moda owners to shape the scope of the audit. Fagan later recused herself from the audit once it was underway. Now, after news emerged about her side job, she ended her consulting contract and a day later announced she was resigning. Governor Tina Kotek has asked the state DOJ to investigate. Here's what she said about the scandal shortly after it broke.
I let her know that I was concerned by the news reports. I want to make sure that when we read that audit, we are confident those results are based on good auditing practices and looking at performance.
Well, Fagan officially leaves the Secretary's office on Monday. Deputy Secretary of State Cheryl Myers will take over until Governor Kotek appoints a permanent replacement. Oregon's special election is coming up on May 16th, and all registered Multnomah County voters should now have received their ballots. They were delayed by about a week because of an error that forced almost all of them, more than 500,000, to be reprinted. If you haven't received yours yet, you're asked to contact Multnomah County Elections.